Hello, I wanted to give you a quick update on what the county, really focus on the county statistics as far as the housing market goes first, and then I'll touch a little bit on interest rates, and then I'll touch on the consumer price index, which is a way to track inflation. First, this is what the last year looks like in sales in Fauquier County. So at the bottom there, you can see what was happening in September of last year. We had 67 homes sold. And if you look up in that same category up to September of 2024, that same column, you can see that 58 units sold just last month. So we're down a little bit there. We had more activity overall this year. But then as we enter the fall, generally things do start to slow down a little bit after school is in. We have a little bump normally in September of October, but it looks like the decline in units sold has actually gone down. How it impacts you guys specifically more has to do with sales price. Allison will pull a CMA for you and give you an idea of what your house specifically looks like. But it's always a good idea to know what the median sales price is in the county overall, so that you have some idea of where you are. As far as reflective of how the county is doing overall. So, if you look at the bottom of sold median, September of 2023, this is last year, we had 565,000, and it jumped up to in last month, September 2024, 630,000. That's about a, hold on, I had it here, 11.5% roughly increase over last year. So less houses sold last month than September of last year, but the sales price was about between 11 and 12% higher. One thing to note of relative significance is that in September of last year, it took about 26 days on average for a house to sell in Fauquier County. And then last month, September, it took 41 days. So that's a steep climb. I will tell you that generally Allison's listings sell a lot faster than the market. I think her average is closer to about a week, and that is because she does so much. She does so much upfront to get the house ready for prep through making suggestions to get the house ready as far as scope of work, if there's paint or carpet or anything like that that needs to be done, minor repairs, and then also just the staging and the professional photography dramatically cuts down on days on market and how long you guys will be inconvenienced by having people come and take a look at your house. Next thing I'm going to look at, I'm going to do a more of a broader scope just so you can sort of know how the economy is doing overall. One of the biggest things that impacts home sales is, of course, interest rates. So showing you this, the primary mortgage market survey, this comes from Freddie Mac. Um, we're at a hair over six right now. If you look at when you're looking at this graph, focus on the blue line. That's the 30-year, and that's the majority of home buyers what they're using. And this goes back to the segments. This goes back to 2020, so COVID, and you can see that steep increase in January of 22, going through September of 2022, and that is when we realized that we were experiencing inflation as it tied to the consumer price index. Everything was getting more expensive because the government had pumped so much money into the economy. And so interest rates went up. And that is always a little bit staggered. There's always a delay in seeing it. But it's fun to see charts where you can actually break out how it's going. Interest rates right now, as I said, 6.12. If you look at the top section up here, you can't see my arrow, my little mouse, but at the 52-week average is 6.86, so we're well below that at 6.12. But the year change, we're down 1.37, and the reason that is because the consumer price index has indicated that inflation has flattened out a little bit. So the Federal Reserve has been adjusting. 10-year Treasury bonds have been adjusting as well, which is really what mortgages are tied to. And then this is the KPI. I hope I'm not boring you guys too much. But consumer price, really on this one, all I wanted to show you, you can't really see it on the bottom here, but these are 2-year jumps, these blips down at the bottom, each column, each data point, as you will, on the graph. But really look at near the end of this graph on the right, you see the big mountain, and you see the steep decline. That big mountain was 2022. And that was when, as I was showing you in here, you can see the correlation. That is right around in where we started to see interest rates rise. And that was because we saw that was the government's response from a lending perspective to the consumer price index. Since then, we've dropped off a little bit, which explains again why we are seeing a decrease in interest rates, which is good for buyers. And there's still little buyers, still a seller's market. You need to prepare your house for sale as best as possible so that you can incentivize folks to come out and really compete for it so we can get better terms. But that sums up Fauquier County statistics. I hope in the future to include employment numbers, but I have not as of yet. Thanks, guys. Hope this didn't bore you.